everyone, I'm Tiffany. I am the store team leader from the Fairfield Target store. Have you guys been to that store before? Moraga's kind of far, but we're a $33 million store, and I graduated from UCLA with a double bachelor in mass communication studies and sociology. I've been with the company for 5.5 years. I actually started out as an executive team leader position, which is like an assistant manager, and I worked my way up to getting my own store this year. Proud to introduce Kelly, who is one of my executive team leaders. Kelly.
So hi guys, I graduated this last May, so I know some of the faces here. I had a degree in marketing, minor in communications, and went to be said what we consider an executive team leader, so an equivalent to about an assistant store manager. And my departments, I kind of oversee about 70% of the store, all of the sales floor that you see, minus all the apparel. I oversee all of that.
Today I'll be talking to you about retail marketing. Specifically, I will be talking to you about Black Friday strategies, designer brands, as well as just a general retailer concepts. Thank you. How many of you guys have been shopping on Black Friday? Yeah, about half of you? Okay, how many of you know what Black Friday means? Anyone want to tell us what Black Friday means?
You intend to, at least as far as sales volume, increase your profits, put yourself in the black.
Perfect, exactly. So traditionally, it is the Friday after Thanksgiving, and it kicks off our Christmas holiday shopping season, right? So as you mentioned over there, thank you, indicates a point when retailers turn a profit or are in the black. For many years, it was actually very common for retailers to open at 6 a.m., but in the late 2000s, stores have actually started to move up their opening time. For example, Target, originally this year we were supposed to open at 4 o'clock a.m. again. However, we actually decided to open up at midnight. While we see a trend of the competition staying open during Thanksgiving and starting Black Friday early, one facet of Target's brand is being keen of its team members' time and personal lives. We are deemed a family store, so Target is hesitant in opening earlier. However, our main competition is Walmart. And so in order to maintain our competitive edge, we waited for Walmart to announce their store opening, and then Target adjusted our store opening accordingly. So we stay as competitive as we can while maintaining Target's brand as a family store.
So to be honest, opening at Black Friday at midnight is actually a really big risk for Target because we had to take on extra payroll for setup since team members had to come in on Thanksgiving, which meant they had holiday pay, not to mention extraneous hours and going over all kinds of California labor laws, things like that, and legal requirements. So it was a really big risk for Target because not only did we wait to see what Walmart was doing, we had to adjust accordingly with the team members, their families, and essentially making sure and ensuring that our guests were going to pick our store first. So if it was between us, Walmart, and Kohl's, who are they really going to go to first? And trying to see, are we still going to get the same amount of sales? Are we still going to get the same amount of guest traffic?
And to show our guests that we valued their loyalty by coming to our store first, we actually handed out Luna bars to keep them awake
and happy.
So Target places a heavy emphasis on our brand. So if you compare Target and Walmart, you have two completely different stores. So Target takes a lot of pride in our brand and presentation. Do any of you guys shop at Walmart? And Target? Like, do you guys see the difference? Do you feel the difference? We take a lot of pride in our clean floors, clean restrooms, just our end displays and what we advertise on our merchandise, items in the right location, and then lots of team members that will offer guest assistance. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the strategies that Target uses for Black Friday. We've used tools like releasing the ad circular early, broadcast advertising, such as the commercial that you guys saw, online strategies, and promotional signing. The commercial that we showed earlier, the target audience is intended to be aimed towards Target's main consumer, which is actually the middle class female. We do all of our main advertising in-house, And the creative team works closely with the guest insight division to tailor the commercial's message to the right audience. The tone of the commercial is humorous because we know that a lot of people make fun of Black Friday, but at the same time, we know that a lot of parents do their Christmas shopping all in one day.
So, do you guys think the commercial was effective? A few nods. How many of you guys actually saw that commercial or a variation? Okay, a few hands. Good. So we had to know that we had to release it kind of early enough to make sure, again, with that started making sure that the guests knew that we were opening at midnight instead of the traditional 4 a.m. opening. So that was a big play in dealing with all kinds of different advertisers, the networks, and all the buyers to making sure that we're releasing the right video at the right time to have all of our guests be able to see it and then kind of make that mental note that we're open at 4 a.m. And of course, that's the best way to prep, lifting those baskets.
Moving on to our direct advertising and mail-ins for Black Friday. First off, it was released early. It wasn't in our typical Sunday newspaper. We actually released it on Saturday. As you can see, as shown by the large font, we clearly wanted to emphasize that this was a non-traditional opening time for Target. So we opened at midnight tonight, right? The larger pictures that you see in the ad, we actually don't have a lot of gross margin on that. So, for example, when we sell an Xbox, how much do you think we actually make on that for profit? I'll give you the answer, $5. We actually make $5 in selling any of the PlayStations, Xbox, those game systems. Target actually only makes $5 in each of those. So what we try to do is we try to sell games, video games, controllers, and all that stuff because that's where we actually ultimately make our money. So those that come in will more than likely leave the store with a doorbuster, but they'll also be lured in. So these high, big ticketed items are incentives for the guests to come in, right? We try to lure the guests to come in to shop at our store by advertising these big price items.
So theoretically, if it says you save $150 on that large screen TV or iPhone, whatever it is, you're thinking, great, I have $150 extra that I still have in my pocket. But actually research has shown that you'll end up spending that $150 at that store because you're still in that mindset, oh, I'm saving money, therefore I have no money. Yeah?
What do you do with a highly priced elastic customer when a customer really buys at the margin? I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty frugal. I'm in retail marketing myself. I would walk in and buy what I want to eat. So how do you combat that is the question? Besides the fact that you have the marketing for it, and you think these people maybe have the idea that this is money that I can now spend. What about those people that are truly budget conscious?
What about those that are truly
budget conscious? Very, very price elastic. Or elastic.
A lot of it's going to be, we found this a lot in electronics, that obviously people are going and they want the game systems, that's it, because that's the only, money that they've allotted for. Right. What we found, however, is a lot of times it's the way you phrase it. So like instead of, have you looked at getting the controller for your Wii? Instead of saying that, it's, it doesn't come with that, this is what you need. It's the specific phrasing, because a lot of times people are standing there and they're trying to make that buying decision, and it's going to be, first off, is a team member coming up to you and asking, can I help you find something? Because if you are interacting with a team member, we're much more likely to get the sale than if you're shopping by yourself. Because a lot of times if you're doing that, you're going in with a specific list, and you're going to get out. But if you're interacting with a team member, we can actually suggestive sell to you guys other items, and you're more likely to buy that way. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I wanted to add to it though.
Yeah.
This is another question. Think about it like this. The people that typically shop Black Friday are people that are very informed consumers. They know what they want. They know how much it's going to be or it's not going to be. They're going to buy it or they're not. I mean, how many people do you know that don't know anything about electronics? Maybe the parents. I can see that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is the people that are going to stay awake that late, they're younger consumer typically. And more often than not, less like a woman is going to say, oh, I may have to buy an electronic consumer equipment. How many women do you know that know anything about electronics? No offense.
No, it's actually, that's a good point. As we saw, I mentioned our demographic right now is kind of that middle-aged woman. On Black Friday, they're coming out and shopping. Okay, my kid wants a Nintendo DS. I don't know what this is. I don't know what I need for it. Therefore, we can have them buy more things because we kind of unintentionally, we know that they probably don't know. However, on Black Friday, we do see a large number of males coming out. but the advertising strategies are still geared towards those mothers who are getting up, with their daughters, just because it's kind of that fun tradition to go and shop, and they're actually, probably thinking, okay, I want this, this, and this, but when they're standing in line, with other guests in front of them, are they really getting that? Maybe, maybe not. And what happens if the laptop that they wanted buys out, right? Sells out. Are they going to sit there and say, okay, I still have that $250 I could spend on that. What else could Johnny want besides the laptop, right? So at that point, we're kind of relying on them to figure out, what else could they want, and then we kind of tailor it to that. Did I answer your question?
Cool. Let's see. So this was actually advertised through an iPad. I don't know if you guys can see that. Meaning that while direct advertising was used in the past as our primary vehicle for our industry, we're still looking at new and innovative ways to reach our consumers.
And just so you guys know, this is kind of our direct advertising. It's the mail-in flyer, the what we call our ad. So just so you guys know, this is kind of what we're talking about, the actual mail-in direct advertising piece.
Cool. So in this slide, Target relaunched their Target.com early this summer to make it more user-friendly. The site can be navigated very similarly to a store. So if you take a look at all of the categories, all of these categories are actually represented just like this in our store. This is not by chance or by a website developer. Again, we do it in-house, but this is a strategy that we've put in place so that the guest sees the continuity from the store to the site. Research has shown that if there's consistency, you're more likely to drive more sales because guests will know where to shop in both places. Essentially, we're training our guests to provide them with a more pleasant and shoppable experience. As seen here, we wanted to Target headquarters wanted to create excitement in the store by adding this countdown ticker. Do you guys see that up there? Part of this online strategy is to entice guests to shop online as well as in the stores. And to add it, actually we'll save that for later, the 5% off. Yeah, cool.
So one of the newer strategies you guys will kind of see during Black Friday is what we consider kind of the bulk selling strategy. So here we see a bunch of big bulk shippers, so it's kind of run, grab, you don't really need to sit there and have that decision-making process. However, they're actually strategically placed here. So on Black Friday, people are mostly in electronics, some are kind of in the housewares area. However, here you'll see on the right side, bulk in the grocery, and then the pillows and kind of home deck stuff in the apparel area. So they're actually strategically placed there because what we want to do is lure you into those areas and continue to shop there. So those are kind of the main reasons why we place them there and kind of have them in the bulk bins. Just so you know as well, there's also a little bit of strategy on the headquarters kind of store side of things. So the 2-day is actually in green. However, we have a 4-day ad, which is leading up to the Thanksgiving Black Friday, which is actually all in red. Now, normally consumers don't notice this. They don't think that, oh, the colors really mean anything. Store side, however, it does. From an operational sense, it tells us which items do go out and which items don't go out, as well as kind of figuring out the logistic process of timing things just right for our ad setup and takedown, making sure that we have the right signs up and the right signs down in place because we don't want to go against any California laws for price accuracy.
So one of Target's main promotional citing strategies is to drive single price points. For example, as you can see there, $9.99. And the whole point of these end caps, they're called end caps, by the way, and these are basically the end displays on the end of each aisle. And the strategy is used to help our guests make a quicker buying decision. So as they're passing by, it's kind of like impulse buys, right? They're just going to grab it off as they see like a single price point because they shout a lot of value. The end caps usually feature hot and new items, and this is like holiday pet supplies. In which we'll switch out new product weekly depending on the ad as it changes, as well as we'll keep some promotional items on the end caps for a couple of weeks depending on the season. In the second picture, you'll notice that we have 3x5 signs that have creased flags. These are more promotional citing. For example, this one says temporary price cuts. More recently, Target has added these as advertised flags in which, in the actual circular, it's actually the regular price, but when a guest sees this in the aisle, they think that they're getting a special deal, right? But it's actually the regular price. The whole point of these flags, though, is so that the guests are lured into the aisle. So if it's sticking out like this, and Kelly's passing by, she's shopping this way, she would notice that this says as advertised, and it'll entice the guests to come into the aisle. Cool. So while promotional signing is just a part of it, end caps in general are there to do suggestive selling. Target spends millions of dollars each year on the placement of these items. So for example, if you notice the placement of the handheld blender up on the top on the right-hand side, Target spends millions of dollars having it on that top shelf, depending on consumer buying behaviors. Notice it's also at eye level. So Target spends millions of dollars having it right there, not on the second shelf, but on the top shelf right up there. If you notice also the space between the first and the second shelf, it's so that guests can actually easily grab the item on the second shelf. There's room for guests to reach their hands in there to grab. So we're very, very strategic and mindful of how we actually set our end caps, and this is an example of it here.
And a lot of these things seem really basic and logical. Like, of course, we put it, at eye level, but we actually never want to take anything for granted, and it's all based on consumer demographics. And they have different, what we call planograms, the way it's set up for each different store. They're kind of geared towards similar stores, and so a store in Fairfield could have one that's completely different than a store in Nevada, for example. So we do try to tailor it to the same demographic. Yeah, go ahead.
What do you mean you guys spend millions of dollars placing it?
So headquarters does a lot of research in terms of what is going to sell where. So for example, they've done research that says that the handheld blender up there will sell better on the top shelf than they will on the second shelf. And what they do is they actually have different stores, prototype stores, to pilot this end cap. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
They also do all kinds of market research, like focus groups, things like that. They actually have a store in Minneapolis where they kind of build out what they think certain end caps things will look like, and they'll actually have the other employees walk around and visually see, does this make sense, in addition to testing it on our guests. So there's all kinds of ways they go about it. Target takes into consideration what the heavy sellers are as well as the time of the season. So if you look at the second picture to the right, it was our Thanksgiving end cap this year, and on this end cap we've got like baked goods, but with it we've also have spatulas, like everything that you would need to make that item, everything that the guests would need in the kitchen. So we have everything right then and there on that end cap. A lot of that's based off of, again, suggested selling and time of the season. So when you guys are thinking of Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's kind of that baking time you're with your family. So the way Target thinks about it is, let's put it all in one easy place for you, so that you can grab your spatula, you can grab your apron, you can grab the cookie dough mix and the icing all right there. And while you might think you're going in for maybe eggs or something, you see that and you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna cook cookies with my mom tomorrow, I should grab that. And so it's kind of that suggestive selling point again. So our seasonal strategy, it's very specific to consumer behaviors. So for example, what do you think that guests buy, or what do they do after Thanksgiving besides shop and sleep?
Watch football.
A little after that, what else do they do?
They usually put up their Christmas trees, right? They start decorating for Christmas. So even from the store side of it, right after Thanksgiving and December, the first week of December, we'll actually push all of our outdoor lighting onto the sales floor, our Christmas trees, and then during the second week, then we'll start pushing out gifted items, because that's how it's in sequence, right? The guests, they're going to go ahead and buy outdoor lights and set up their trees and all that stuff. Then the second, we'll push out more ornaments. We'll push out, what did I say?
gifts.
Week 2,
things like that.
more gifted items. And then week 3, then that's when they're going to wrap their gifts, right? So then we'll push out all of the gift wrap and bows and cards and all that stuff. Does that make sense?
And as you guys know, we're kind of in that week 2, so as you can see, kind of on the front page of the circular that's going to come out, it's those gift-giving ideas. So all of the advertising and marketing that headquarters will put out all simulates that whole process and transition.
So we've developed our own brands, and the majority of these products give Target high gross margin because the consumer's not paying for the brand name. So for example, while some people are dedicated buyers of Bounty, we have our own Up and Up brand, and in most cases, they're actually made from the same factories. And so essentially, it's the same product, but at a cheaper price.
Target's actually gone a step further with our own brands, and we've actually designated different own brands based on different consumer groups. So for example, Archer Farms is actually kind of for the more sophisticated, not price sensitive group, whereas we do have Market Pantries kind of for your everyday Joe. So we do actually have different brands of Target that cater to different consumer groups as well.
So when we talk about our dedication to good design, we don't just simply mean how it looks, but also how does it satisfy a need? How does it simplify your life, and how does it make you feel? How does it make the guests feel? So innovative packaging helps differentiate our own brands, including our popular resealable Archer Farms chip bag. So it features a zipper that helps the chips stay fresh longer. We also have in this picture our new Archer Farms cereal box, which has like the rounded corners. Those larger graphics and detail appeal. Oh, well, you can't see it, but it appeals to the guest. And in addition, this easy to peel seal and a hinged plastic cover ensures the easy pouring and the longer freshness.
And just so you guys know, all of the packaging for all of the own brands is actually all done in-house as well. So they have whole teams that are dedicated to figure out, what do guests want in their cereal boxes, what kind of things look good to them. And so it's all consumer driven, but they do have all teams working on that specifically over at headquarters. Target actually started partnering with bigger names. I don't know if you guys noticed, we actually have been known as, Target, kind of that step up in retailers. So they've actually started making those brand associations with other companies and brands like Calypso, Missoni, and Harajuku Mini.
Did anyone shop the Missoni? That was a huge popular line. Were you able to buy anything?
Yeah.
Yeah? That's cool. So all of the store team leaders were actually in Minneapolis that day for our national sales meeting, and it was interesting because all of the STLs were like, we didn't get to shop anything from Missoni, and we actually sold 60% on the very first day, on the launch day. We sold 60% of our Missoni product that day. It generated $34 million in sales in one day across the company. But in advertising, you'll see the Missoni name displayed prominently following the Target phrase logo for Target, right? So for Target, the for Target phrase indicates that we have exclusive rights as a major retailer to carry their brand, and that you couldn't find it anywhere else except for Target.
You'll also see here in Gwen Stefani's line that the same for Target is also prominently displayed, so it kind of gives that same feeling of exclusivity. We're expecting this line to do over $40 million in sales, and they actually have advertising in major outlets, specifically magazines like Us Weekly, InStyle, and then it's has begun airing in November on television as well. So Target is also using an extensive social media strategy. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, other companies are kind of going onto Facebook and they're trying to interact with their consumers. Target has also taken on that challenge. However, they're starting to create more of a conversation with their consumers rather than taking the kind of traditional marketing approach. So as you guys can kind of see here, there's a lot of large graphics, and the wording is actually really conversational. It's not your traditional marketing messages like at the top. It's not your, oh, Sony's at Target, go buy it. It's, you know, hey guys, it sounds like a really good idea. So it's kind of more of we're talking to you and you're talking to us, and this is great for feedback. For Target, which is, you know, one of their kind of major core roles that they love in all of their team members is kind of that feedback aspect. So it's really integrated into the Target culture. And so having that conversation is a great way to learn, you know, what is the consumer thinking and how do we tailor that message to that consumer.
If you're on Facebook right now, we're offering coupons. So
it's one of those click and you like and you get the coupon. A lot of companies are starting to roll that out.
So each store is given their own detailed demographics of their guests. So based on this information, the products that you see in the store will vary from store to store. So for example, in some stores, they might have like a bigger selection of Hispanic food, but maybe in other stores, they might have a smaller selection and maybe more Asian food, for example. Since Target caters primarily to middle-class women, based on market research, women like to do their shopping in one place. So we focus all of our efforts on being a one-stop shop. 2 years ago, Target started adding a grocery section, also known as P-Fresh, to drive sales. So for produce, we don't earn hardly any gross margin at all, but the purpose of the whole P-Fresh, or having the grocery section, is to increase guest frequency. In addition, Target has added Target Cafe in the store. So while we earn very little profit on this, we provide the middle-class mother an opportunity to be able to shop longer in our stores because oftentimes they'll bring their kids. So we have ices and popcorn for the kids to keep the mother distracted so that the mother can shop longer. You know, I think obviously if you were in a department store with a screaming child, you're more likely to leave the store quicker as opposed to one that had a child that was distracted and quiet.
We also have kind of what we consider a frequent buyer program, which is if you apply for a red card, which is similar to a credit card, you get to save 5% on that transaction, every transaction that you use your red card for. Now, a lot of this was actually paired up with the online strategy because it was relaunched that if you used your red card online, you got free shipping. So it sounded like a really good deal. However, a lot of times what we find is actually 15% of our consumers that are red card holders drive 85% of our sales. So when you guys have taken marketing, it's kind of that 80-20 rule, that 20% of the consumers do 80% of the sales. So it's actually true, and Target has found that as well. So, and we get to wear these fun little badges to kind of remind consumers that it is a great way to save money, that 5%, because again, it's kind of that same idea that if, oh, I'm saving 5% on this purchase, I can actually really spend $5 more on something else because you have that mindset that you're saving money.
Open a Target debit card if you guys can. We're selling Target debit cards today. No,
Walnut Tree, good idea.
5% off every day and free shipping online. Cool. So, the future of Target. So earlier this year, Target announced its first international expansion into Canada. We actually purchased the leaseholds for up to 220 stores of the Canadian sale chain Zellers, which is owned by Hudson's Bay Company. We're really excited to bring the Target brand to Canada and to share the true Target brand experience. Target Canada plans to have at least 100 to 150 stores open in Canada by 2013 and 2014. The first city Target will be open in 2012. The City Target is a name for a downtown, smaller format Target store, so it's not going to be like your typical store. It's aimed towards those urban consumers, urban living, and they will be opening up actually in Chicago, LA, New York, and actually our very own San Francisco next year in mid-2012, and then in Puerto Rico in the following 2 years after that.
So many of you guys are probably wondering, what about Target careers? What does Target have to offer me? So that's kind of why I'm here, because I am literally kind of in your guys' shoes. I graduated and I joined with Target, and there's a lot of great opportunities. They hire all year round. We do have a 10-week internship program, so if you guys are kind of in the still kind of the younger age groups and grades and you're not quite sure, it's actually a really great hands-on experience because it's 10 weeks. It is paid. If you're going to be a senior, I believe it's $17 an hour, so you do get paid very well. And what is you get really good hands-on experience. You learn all of the different processes the first few weeks and figuring out how does the store run. You also get to learn all the strategies and you work with an exec team. And then near the end, you do get to essentially run the store for a few hours by yourself. So you could potentially running, if a lot of interns go to Walnut Creek, you could be running over $100 million store for a certain period of time. So it's a lot of great responsibility and opportunities for you, as well as you do get to lead a team, which is one of the reasons why I was really interested in Target. Right out of graduation, straight first job, and you get managerial experience. It's really unheard of, especially for an entry-level position. I have 4 direct reports for me, and then I oversee their teams as well. So if you guys are interested in kind of developing your leadership skills and really kind of excelling as a manager, Target is definitely the place for you. I would also say one thing for me is I was really interested in my professional development. What is Target going to set me up with skills? What's going to set me up for the future? What about 5 years down the road? What kind of plans do they have for me? And Target is very, very interested and they put a lot of effort into your personal, professional development. So I would definitely, if you guys haven't already picked out a package, because it'll kind of detail more jobs and things like that. But it is definitely a great start out for your career if you guys are interested. They also have different types of positions based on what you're interested in. So if you're interested in more kind of a human resources perspective, side of things, you can do HR. If you're interested in more kind of like theft prevention, we do have assets protection. So if you guys are out to catch the bad guys, we have that side of things. If you're interested in kind of operations, we do have logistics. So there's all kinds of different positions for everybody, with all different interests.
So I took this quote from actually one of our leading marketing people up in headquarters. So what does design have to do with diapers, digital cameras, and deck furniture? Everything. We create our stores to be easy and intuitive to shop, with related departments conveniently placed next to each other, and a racetrack central aisle to speed you on your way. Thanks to our department store roots, we concentrate on aesthetics. We know that things like artistic seasonal displays can turn a weekend shopping trip into a fun family outing.
That kind of wraps it up for us. Do you guys have any questions, anything we can answer for you guys?
Are those summer internships, or are those things that people could do in the spring?
There's summer internships.
Okay.
Yeah. Not all at once, guys.
Well, thanks so much. Oh,
Yeah, you guys said you have a debit card service, right?
Yes.
You guys like contracted out to a bank to like run the services, or you guys do it in-house yourself?
I'm pretty sure it's all in-house.
Yeah.
We have our
Okay.
own, like,
So that means
bank.
you guys might be looking for like finance managers?
Yeah. A lot of the finance majors and kind of accounting majors actually tend to go to Salesforce because there's a lot of reporting and analytics that go into it. So essentially, if you could look at the store side, each store is actually run like its own individual business. So we're looking at payroll, we're looking at sales, we're looking at all different kinds of metrics and how do we improve scores. So we actually do get a fair amount of accounting and finance majors because they are all interested in the numbers and how it all works. So we do get a fair amount of those.
but those jobs, including like marketing jobs, are mostly located in headquarters. So we represent store side, but we have a great partnership with headquarters. But headquarters is all the way in Minneapolis if you're interested in something like that.
Though, I have talked to a few people from headquarters. If you guys are kind of interested in specifically doing, finance at headquarters, they actually do recommend getting some store side experience because a lot of times, you're sitting up in headquarters and you're making decisions that affect 1,700 stores. It's better if you have that background and understanding of the process so that you can really kind of make the better decisions ultimately. Anything else?
Well, thank you so much for having us here. Really appreciate it. We'll be here for a couple minutes longer if you guys have any personal questions up here. So.
And take all the swag and their business cards there.
All right.